that means we're going up, a million a year, right? So
Yeah.
it's to be seen, but I think all signs point to sooner rather than later. So it's better to be prepared mentally that, it is coming, and treat your Bitcoin with that care and attention and secure it and plan accordingly. I think it is very sudden. And that's the thesis of the Omega candle, that we just start seeing 100K candles daily.
Oof.
And I don't think it's far away. And I would say this is more of an orange swan than a black swan. But all
Haha.
signs point to the orange swan coming. It's like flying closer and closer, and it's about to land. And when it does, you're going to feel it.
Samson Mow starts off by highlighting a compelling concept. Bitcoin is the cornerstone of a new global monetary system, not merely a speculative asset. Bitcoin stands out as the one asset that cannot be manipulated or inflated, even as governments all over the world continue to print money and sink in debt in order to survive. Samson contends that increased adoption in poor nations where currencies are depreciating, along with institutional demand through Bitcoin ETFs, is paving the way for what he terms hyperbitcoinization. He asserts that this is not a pipe dream, but rather an established trend that will only pick up speed due to pressure from failing currency regimes. If you're intrigued by bold predictions and deep financial insights, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more engaging content. Thank you for your support and enjoy the video.
But are there any countries whose fiat just isn't doing the trick right now that you're like, watch over there?
I mean, Argentina, Turkey, there are many countries that seem on the brink of fiat collapse. And I think they're still hanging on. Even the US is not looking that great right now. And I think that has to
Right.
that is driving a lot of the initiatives right now. If you look at the US, they're embracing stablecoins because they have to. There's no other choice. Like, nobody is buying their US treasuries. Like Tether, I think, is the top 15 a top 15 holder, up there above many countries, because there is no more demand.
Wow.
So if you look at where things are going, like, fiat is definitely on its last legs, and it's possibly a few years away, maybe 5, maybe 10. Nobody knows for sure, but it's definitely not on an upward growth trajectory.
Or do you expect a huge catalyst like nation state adoption happen and then all of a sudden we're off to the races?
I think it's all of what you just said there. It is gradually and then suddenly. And nobody knows exactly when suddenly hits, but you can definitely see the suddenly on the horizon with everything that's happening. I mean, ETFs alone are buying multiple times the mine supply of Bitcoin. Then you factor in the corporate adoption, which is accelerating.
Right.
Like, strategy is not buying less, they're buying more, and they're raising more every time. I think STRC upsized from $500 million to 2.5 billion. Metaplanet is increasing the velocity and size of their buys, and then you have new entrants coming in too. Adam Back has announced a BSTR with, I think, 30,000 coins committed. So nothing is slowing down, everything is speeding up. So 1 million doesn't seem like it's a far away thing. There are a lot of people that theorize that, post institutional adoption, we're seeing less volatility. It's going to be a slow slog, but I just don't see that. Not with the velocity of the buying that's happening on the market. Even 80,000 coins dropped on Sunday night barely made a dent. Like, Bitcoin is numb to all of this now. It's just going up. The economy of most countries in the world right now are not in a good state, and it could just be that retail is broke. And it's going to be institutional capital. It's going to be investors rotating out of other things like real estate and gold into Bitcoin. Or it's going to be pension funds that need to cover unfunded liabilities buying strategy or a strategy product. So maybe that's the thing. I'm not really sure. But I would just add a caveat that right now, I would say we're overheated because you can see alts started to outperform Bitcoin temporarily. And in my recollection and experience, that's never a good thing. Usually we come back down, and then when Bitcoin dominance goes up, then we go back up again in a more healthy manner.
Right. Do you think we might be at the start of a quote unquote altcoin rally based on what we've seen in previous cycles?
I mean, there are always altcoin rallies and then they always fizzle out. If you look at the history of crypto, it's like everything goes down over time. Nothing sustains. And that includes things like Ethereum. But you know, they're so small now relative to Bitcoin and so illiquid relative to Bitcoin that it is easy for people to pump them up. And that's maybe where the retail money is going because they see quick gains and then they're buying an alt. And then the alt drops and they get flushed out. And that cycle repeats over and over. That's why I think it's healthier if we go down a bit. Even Bitcoin goes down a little bit, flush out the alts, increase dominance, and then go up in a more healthy fashion. I don't think we've reached FOMO territory yet. And again, 0.25, 0.5, those are my interesting targets. But I did a calculation a few weeks back about the cost of eggs and inflation. And if you look at eggs alone, the real rate of inflation is something like 11%. And if you factor that in with our 2021 highs, adjusted for inflation, you know, that's like 100K. So we're just kind of beating inflation right now, real inflation. And real inflation probably higher than 11%. Like that's just arbitrarily picking eggs as a baseline. But, you know, that's not FOMO territory. FOMO territory is really outpacing inflation. And I think people will subconsciously know that when we get to, you know, 0.2, 0.25. And then they're going to wake up and go, okay, well, I need to get into this now because it's meaningful now. But maybe subconsciously the market just knows we're more or less tracking inflation.
Samson Mow provides a word of caution despite his optimism for Bitcoin's long-term prospects. According to him, the recent spike in cryptocurrency prices is one of the main indicators that the market is currently overheated. These rallies, in his opinion, are short-lived and typically indicate that individual investors are seeking quick gains before losing everything. According to Mow, it would be beneficial for Bitcoin to experience a little decline. It would drive out weak players, restore Bitcoin's hegemony, and fortify the groundwork for the subsequent significant surge. He clarifies that this is just the way crypto cycles operate. Furthermore, history has demonstrated that only Bitcoin consistently retains long-term value. For further updates on Bitcoin and the wider world of digital assets, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and enable post notifications before we go any further. Thanks, and enjoy the video.
I mean, 80,000 coins dumped on the weekend spot.
Yeah.
It barely made a dent. And I think that is the most poignant example of reduced volatility. Like, in past years, let's go back 4 or 5 years, that would have significantly dropped Bitcoin, at least temporarily. But now it's almost like Bitcoin's numb. There's nothing. It's like, yeah, drop 80K, drop 100K, maybe 500K. Nothing will happen. It'll just dip down a little bit, but the buy pressure is just massive and sustained. Like every corporation with a Bitcoin strategy is buying at that depressed price. And it just scoops it all up. I think it is very sudden. And that's the thesis of the Omega candle, that we just start seeing 100K candles daily. And I don't think it's far away. And I would say this is more of an orange swan than a black swan. But all signs point to the orange swan coming. It's like flying closer and closer, and it's about to land. And when it does, you're going to feel it. It's hard to say. All I'm going to say is Omega is coming. I think you're just going to see it happen, and it's going to happen faster than most people believe. It feels like the general consensus is volatility is muted. We're going to see a steady slog upwards, but Bitcoin just likes to shock and awe us. So I think, if anything, we're going to see 1 million faster than anyone thinks it's going to happen. Like most models, Saylor's 24 model, Bitcoin 24 model, I think puts it out in 2030 something. He recently said in Prague in his presentation 21 million in 21 years. And, you know, that means we're going up, 1 million a year, right? So it's to be seen, but I think all signs point to sooner rather than later. So it's better to be prepared mentally that, you know, it is coming, and treat your Bitcoin with that care and attention and secure it and plan accordingly. I was just going to add, like, in this day and age, there's just so much information. You have documentaries, you have movies, you have, I don't know, hundreds of books now about Bitcoin. It's just so easy to learn if you're willing to learn compared to back when I learned about Bitcoin, where there was very little information. There's no podcast, like maybe one, but it's kind of like when Andreas Antonopoulos was talking to an empty room. That was what it was like back then. So if you are alive today and you know about Bitcoin and you haven't learned about Bitcoin, it's almost all on you. There's no one to blame when hyperbitcoinization hits and you missed it because you didn't choose to learn a little bit more. I think at 0.5, we've reached half of gold, so that's when the train accelerates. So nothing stops the train, but the train accelerates at 0.5. That's when you start massive demonetization of gold, real estate, and everything else, and it just gets sucked into Bitcoin. But I think it all happens very quickly because once you hit 0.25, 0.5 is not far away, and then 1 is not far away. I would say so. I mean, strategy has shown us that there is a glitch in the matrix, and you can get infinite money. Basically, that's what it is. Zero interest loans are infinite money. So as more companies find these kind of glitches, they'll tap into them. Metaplanet's another example. It's partially regulatory based because buying spot is punitive. So people will just buy strategy for exposure. Buy Metaplanet for exposure. So I think there are different glitches in different regions and jurisdictions that let companies tap into this money glitch. And that is good for Bitcoin because it accelerates hyperbitcoinization. It accelerates the global wealth that is flowing into Bitcoin.
There are no more justifications for disregarding Bitcoin, as Samson Mow concludes with a potent message. In contrast to the early days when there was virtually no information available, anyone can now learn about Bitcoin thanks to books, podcasts, movies, and a wealth of internet resources. When hyperbitcoinization happens and individuals miss out, it is their obligation, not anyone else's, to take the time to comprehend it. According to Mow, acceptance of Bitcoin will quicken if it approaches a quarter or half of the market value of gold. At that time, we witness significant wealth transfers from gold, real estate, and other assets straight into Bitcoin. He even likens this process to a train that, once it reaches specific milestones, cannot be stopped and only gains strength. Additionally, Mow notes that new financial glitches and ETFs are accelerating the process. Although it's always preferable to hold Bitcoin directly, ETFs have taken down previous obstacles, making it simple for institutions, pension funds, and individual investors to get into the market. This implies that trillions of dollars in conventional capital can now enter the Bitcoin market without the hassles and delays associated with exchanges. According to him, the larger picture is straightforward. Bitcoin is more than just an investment anymore. It is evolving into a new financial system's cornerstone. Hyperbitcoinization entails living entirely in Bitcoin rather than trading it for cash. And the world is moving toward that future more quickly than most people know, whether you are ready for it now or not. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications if you thought his viewpoint was helpful so you don't miss any updates. We'd love to know what you think about the future of cryptocurrency markets, so please share your ideas in the comments section. We appreciate your time and hope to see you in the next video.